Hello and welcome to Color Yoga. If you're new here, my name is Kyle, and for the next month, I'm going to be joined by some friends on the channel. This October, it's my privilege and pleasure to welcome my peers from the South African yoga community. So for the next 30 days, a different teacher will lead you on your daily practice right here on the Color Yoga studio. And I hope that you'll be inspired by the blend and the different styles and personalities as I've been. And not only do I want this to be a showcase for the immense talent that we have in South Africa, but we are also supporting the Earthchild Project, a local yoga-based NGO. We all know how much yoga has changed our lives, so go and have a look and support. We have such a great opportunity to make a positive impact, and I'm so excited to host this series. So lay down your mats, take a deep breath, and let's dive gently into the magic of yoga.
Welcome to the 30-day challenge, everybody. My name is Mandisa, and the style of yoga that I mainly do is Hatha, but we infuse the different types of yoga in the practice, so we bring in the meditation, the deep breath work, and a little bit of yin style. A lot of the practice is about integrating the physical body with the breath as well as the mind body. So you're constantly focused on being here now, and with that whole union, that's where we're fully yoked within the yoga practice. So I invite you to just come into a comfortable seat. I love using props, so if you enjoy that, I've got a foam block, I've got a strap, and then I've got two big blocks. So what the blocks remind you to do, and it's more about informing the upward movement. Okay, so a lot of this practice is meditative. So let's come into a meditation seat. If you want to cross-legged, if you want to on your shins, and then have your right palm underneath your left, and then your thumbs touching, okay? I mean, they are big, so it doesn't matter, they're thumbs, all right? So let them touch. And then invite length into your spine. And all I want you to do now with your eyes closed is relax the jaw, relax the shoulders, and notice posture in your seat. So begin to root either through the shins or the sit bones, and then lift up through the crown of the head. So notice that automatic lift. Feel as if there's a rod in your spine that is centralized to the skeletal structure. And those of you with Ujjayi breath, begin to incorporate that breath flow. If you're not fully well versed with it, then what you want to feel is if your nostrils are right at the base of your throat. So breathe in right from the clavicle. The breath becomes more expansive, and then at the exhalation, you allow yourself to drop into your body. So you might not be able to hear with the sound of my breathings. Take a deep breath in. Hold. And exhale, ground. Inhale deeply. Hold. Exhale, release. Do that one last time and observe your posture if it's shifted already. And exhale, release. Begin to bow head to heart, but keep the length in your spine. Bow to the wisdom within that comes from the space. And allow yourself to begin the process of receiving so that you can let the breath lead and then the body follow. And then setting your intention, perhaps I can offer a suggestion of using this practice to completely submit to the breath. So let the breath lead, like I said earlier, and let the body follow. So can you feel the difference in the body through the practice? And I'll remind you throughout the whole time. So when you're ready, you're going to come into down dog, but with your hands on the block. So only move whenever you're ready. Mentally be there, emotionally, physically present. Okay. And then when you're ready, come into down dog. The hands on the blocks. I've got these nice chunky ones. So it's nice to just have your hands spread wide across the block. And then you want to push. Obviously, it depends on the type of mat you have, right? So what I like to just observe is the hand to block connection, that your hands aren't almost like you know, waving this way, that it's full, complete, almost like these handstand hands. And you're gripping onto the block. It doesn't have to be a block, like I said, if you don't have that available. And then the down dog is the capital letter A. So if you're feeling like you're out of the frame, so what that might look like is shoulders a little bit forwards, maybe deep hamstring discomfort, what you can do is just simply bend your knees a lot, still keep to the capital letter A, and then keep the knees bent but your chest melting towards your thighs, okay? There's always that intentional or physical touch of your feet down towards the floor. So with your hands down onto the block, if you have it, notice what it reminds you to do. Specifically if your mat to block connection is slippery. What it normally reminds you to do is press down onto the floor. So that's what you want to keep doing. Press down. And then begin to extend from the forearms to the elbows upwards. So you really want to firm into the arms. All the weight you tend to hold into the shoulders. We want to use the arms also as support, right? So as you keep lifting, begin to tilt the pelvis. Notice how it looks like on frame. So if you want to see, usually what feels good generally is a flexion into the spine, but what you want to do is just tilt the pelvis and notice what it does into your body. And then your drishti, which is your gaze, let's look towards the navel. So as you look upwards, it really sends that energy from the ground to lift up, okay? So we do a lot of holding, if you haven't noticed, in my practice, okay? So grounding through the feet, push back with your thighs. I always like to use this analogy as if you rolling the thighs in and then back. And it's almost like this feeling as if your hamstrings are pushing right up against the wall behind you. So you want that sensation. So feel that deep extensions through the hamstrings, through the back line of the legs. And then notice how your breath changes. When we get into the head space, we start holding the breath and then it becomes a little bit more challenging to hold. And then can you keep with Ujjayi? Begin to notice where fatigue hits in the body. That will simply show you where you tend to overcompensate and where you're not fully engaged. So if you're starting to feel the arms, what it's showing you is that you're not pressing down enough. So remind yourself to press. And then remind yourself to breathe in deeply. Remember the tilt in the pelvis. So from here, you want to bend your knees, look to the top of your mat, and just enjoy slowly making your way to the front. Flat back, breathing in. Fold forward, breathing out. And then bending the knees, slowly roll all the way up into your mountain pose, just like a ragdoll, vertebra by vertebra. Okay. Whilst you're coming into Tadasana, begin to refine the shape. So ground through the feet. Your toes are actively grounded onto the floor. You want to feel all four corners press down a lot. Then once again, your thighs are active. There's this energy of pressing downwards. So you want to use gravity in this practice to inform the upward liftment, the upward lift. So as you begin to ground, coming into mountain pose, high mountain, breathing in, nice and slow. Think square breath, fold forward, exhale. Flat back, inhale. Down dog, exhale. And at this point, with or without the blocks, you decide. Inhale, plank. Exhale to knees. Turn the eyes of the elbow forward, chest and chin. And then slowly move forward through to your cobra. Or up dog, you decide. Thighs are pressing actively. And then what I want you to feel with this cobra are the hands lifting off the ground. So notice if you press your thighs down, begin to lift up as you press onto the belly. So it's almost like just the edge of your floating ribs are pressing onto the ground. Then lift the shoulders up, roll them back. And then lift the hands. Observe the breath there. Neck is long, so you don't want like crunching, and you want to keep pulling your elbows towards your heels. So your thighs are really on fire as well, so they're engaged. Take the hands down. Tuck the toes. Inhale, press onto the hands and knees. And then the exhalation, back to down dog. So remember the adjustments we did before. Heel of the hands pressing down. Finger pads pressing onto the floor. Knuckles slightly lifted. You've got the arms fully engaged. Tilt the pelvis, press the chest back, gaze towards your navel. Okay, bend the knees, forward fold to the top of your mat. You're either stepping, you're floating, or you're walking. Flat back in, fold forward out. Inhale, mountain pose. I like to just drag everything along, super slow, attentive. And then coming back into mountain pose, high mountain, breathing in. Fold forward, breathing out. Flat back in. Down dog out. Inhale, plank. Now, if you're coming for chaturanga, lean forwards. Turn the eyes of the elbow forwards as you find almost like a cobra hood. And then look to the front, chaturanga, bend the elbows. Pause the breath. Up dog, inhale. Pause. And then down dog. Observe the breath getting deeper. Keep pressing. So it's almost like with your hands, you're pressing down and forwards. Then you want to bend the knees, look to the top, step, jump, or walk. If you're stepping, alternate the sides. Flat back, breathe in. Fold forward, breathe out. Press down through the feet, high rise, mountain, bend the knees. If you want to curl up. Last round, high mountain, breathe in. Fold forward, breathe out. And allow yourself to just keep it simple. Flat back, breathe in. Down dog, breathe out. High plank in. You choose knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga this time. Remember the kumbhaka, the pause. Up dog in. And then down dog. Stay with your breath. And then look to the top of your mat, step, jump, or walk, forward fold. Flat back in, and then fold forward out. Bend your knees, roll up, or come into high mountain, you decide. And then lifting up. Okay, so I'm going to face the front, And it's almost like your mat is going to dissect my mat towards the side right now. So what you want to do is come with your feet hip distance apart and then ground the hands. You can also use a block if you need this, right? So I'll definitely show both sides, but definitely the front view first. As you take your right hand down, you're going to bend your right knee a lot, okay? As you bend that right knee a lot, notice that what tends to happen is like dumping into the ball and hip socket. You want to almost like reduce that by pressing down into that right foot a lot and then opening up. So open up your chest towards the left side of your body. And then as you keep bending, you keep straightening up into this left leg. So watch that. Obviously, because we're bending into the knee, we tend to, as you can see, loop ourselves quite a bit towards the right side. Can you now notice that you're pushing through that right foot, bending through the knee, but you're equally pushing through that left foot? Now my legs are I'm feeling the heat. You have to be really present with your breath to feel the heat in this sort of practice. Keep pushing down onto the floor, try not to grind. And then now with your right palm, you're pressing down and then you're opening up towards the left. What tends to happen now, because there's so much sensation in the legs, so much energy and awareness that we have to bring into the body, that we tend to dump into the weight. So I'll constantly remind you, feet pressing, try not to dump your weight into the hip socket. And then from here, that right hand presses down to open up even more. So you can see my chest lifting towards my left side. It will be your right in this case. And then from here, lift that left arm up, which will be your right arm, okay? And then from here, keep using gravity to inform the upward movement. We're so used to the downward movement, which is perfect because it helps us ground, but there's a certain part of the body that needs the lifting energy upwards. So as you keep pressing, now take your forearm and fold it. Take the forearm behind the lower back. And this feels like really, really good to open up the body. But keep noticing now at this point, your right thigh is going to feel a lot into that hip bone. So keep pressing. That keeps me aware of that I'm now grounding or grinding into the hip socket, so on it. Just keep pressing and then opening up. And then the head, notice your jaw, notice your breathing as you're concentrating. And now your body's feeling probably like a lot of discomfort. Your breath is changing. Can you come back to it? So deeper breaths. And now notice, can you relax the right ear down to the shoulder? So not only are you getting firming into the body by building strength, you're also opening up, creating flexibility. Not only in the physical body, but in the mind. Just opening up your awareness to, can you lean back now? Right into that thigh. Relax the head as you do this. And then notice that stretch. Breathe into that. Now there's going to be a tendency once again to dump into that hip socket. Keep pressing that foot down as you bend the knee even more. So your hamstrings are going to be like, oh my goodness, get me out of this. But stay for another 5 breaths, then come out. 4. 3. 2. Reverse or come out the way you came in. It's always about being in control with the breath and not letting the body just whip out of the shapes. So now I'm going to take my top hand up. I'm going to straighten up that knee that's bending and then ground through both feet. And that feels super, super juicy. Tell me you didn't feel that. Okay, I hope you did. If not, repeat this part again. Okay, so let's come into the second one. At this point, what I'm particularly feeling, you can say whether you are or not, and feel it, is that the leg that was bent, which happened to be my right side, if you were trying to mirror me, that would be your left side, the hamstring is like burning, but it's opening. And I can feel that energy just opening up into the body. Okay, give it some love. Mine needs some. Okay, ready for the next side. Always need to balance out the body. So let's come with my left hand. If you're mirroring me, it's going to be your right. Center yourself. So automatically, as soon as I come down, my feet are pressing down and away already, right? What you will find in my classes, we seem to do little posture, but feel a lot. Okay, so actively pressing to the feet, left hand grounds. Remember, if you need a block, each side is a different conversation, so be aware of that. And then I'm going to bend into the knee. Okay, so as I bend into the knee, I want to keep breathing. I want to keep pressing both feet actively. And I want to keep awareness that I'm not grinding into my hip socket. Okay, so actually this also helps with glutes if you want to engage the glutes a little bit without needing to do squats. Really perfect, trust me. So keep pressing down. Open up towards what might be your left side or right side if you're doing opposite. My right side opening, and then the right hand lifting. Keep bringing awareness to your breath. When we're in the thinking space, the breath moves into the chest a lot, and we're not breathing like deep, deep exhalation, right? So we just want to constantly be aware of that. So as I press, I'm trying to remind myself, and I'll remind you, both feet actively pressing onto the floor. Keep bending that knee as I straighten up, but I'm not trying to collapse into that left side. Energy from the ground with the hand, lifting right into my shoulder. My arm is shaking, which really shows and feels and reminds me that I'm active in the whole body. Using the right fingertips to lift the upward movement, so that as I'm starting to feel my legs right now, it informs me, breathe a little bit deeper. Okay. Okay, now take the forearm behind the lower back. Now, what I didn't say prior on the first side is that if you have access to hook those fingers into the hip crease, hook them. Okay. And then open up into the shoulder. Relax ear to shoulder at the bottom, and then just keep opening up. Keep pressing. Deep, deep breathing. Stay with the breath. Breathe into any discomfort. When you want to go out, hold for the last 5 breaths. I love what, I think I always get this one twisted sometimes. I don't know if it's like the Patabi Joyce. I hope it is. You can comment in the section below to correct if you want to. But I think Patabi Joyce says that the pose begins when you want to get out. And I love that analogy, because so many times I do want to get out, and then I go for another 5, and then that 5 feels good, and then I go for another 5, and then I want to stop, and by the time it's almost been like a minute just holding the shape and really just feeling all these minor adjustments feel major in the body. So I'm really, really opening up here. Okay, we're going to come out the way we came in. Super, super slow. Remember, each side is a completely different conversation. And then grounding the hands, bend the knees, roll up to standing. Right? How open do your hamstrings feel? Okay, come back to the breath. My legs are still active, so always refining and aligning, refining and aligning. Okay, so now you're going to use the blocks again and then come to Tadasana. Remind yourself why you joined this practice, your intention. Observe the energetic shift from how you first walked onto the mat versus how you feel now. Okay, let's go into Utkatasana, chair pose. Bend the knees, scoop the hands right up across the floor. Okay, really dig deep now. Check that the toes are visible as you look down. So all that's informing you is to send the sit bones or the buttocks back, that way. And then you'll notice automatically, as soon as I keep trying to configure the feet to ground and then my sit bones to move back, there's a flexion into the spine. What we want is length, extension. So all you got to do is tilt the pelvis that way. So as you tilt the pelvis, now the feet, the toes need to ground actively. What I like to do is press the feet down and apart and then extend the arms up. Okay, constant extension. You're pressing down, you're leaning back, you're pressing apart so that you can really feel that fire light up into your outer thighs. Keep breathing. Reach the arms up around the ears. So everything is on fire. My arms, just like down dog, active. My fingers spreading right up towards the ceiling diagonally. Take a deep breath in, fold forward, relieve your legs. Flat back, breathe in. And down dog. Okay, so now we're gonna come into variations of pigeon to open up the hips. Okay, remember I said intention as a suggestion would be to surrender to the breath. So now we come into half pigeon, so rise onto your toes, step right foot behind the block. And then make sure, because you want to open into the hip, that the knee is right out to the side. Then what I like to do is tuck the back toe, lift the knee, and almost feel like I'm sliding back. And you'll really feel that stretch into the hip. Okay, just hold on. Okay, now observe the energetic alignment in the body versus the physical alignment in the body. So the posture has one form of alignment that we can guide our bodies into, and then our bodies have their own alignment. So can you work with that and not get frustrated if physically it's not matching what you've seen in a particular picture or someone's Instagram post and looks really, really extended? Can you just be in yours? And these are the adjustments here. Still keep pressing your hands down. So what you want to do is take your outer left hip, roll it out and in. And now I'm feeling it in that right hip socket. Can you tuck the toes on the back, lift the knee and slide even further back? To protect the knee in the front, flexion through the foot. And as you're breathing and you're feeling, and there's some form of discomfort, breathe a little bit deeper. Just take a deep breath in, open up through the front body more, lift the chin. And then the exhalation, keep your hands down onto the block or on the floor, bend the elbows as you fold forward, tuck the back toes, press as you lift back into down dog. So super slow. You're gonna feel, you might wanna take your dog for a walk a little bit. Just release whatever discomfort you might have felt in that right hip. And then bring yourself back to down dog. Inhale onto your toes. Left leg, move it behind. Tuck the toes, slide it back. Okay. So this particular knee on my side is definitely a different conversation that you want to start observing now, the relationship between encouraging your body to get into it in a similar form that you did on the first round versus forcing. And you'll notice when you feel the force. So what happens now, example, my right shin was a little bit further forward, almost parallel towards the front of my mat. This leg needs to be at a 45-degree angle. So you want to tuck the toes, lift the knee at the back, and then slide back. Remember the flexion into the foot. Now I'm not going to force this one because this one affects my knee a little bit more, so just be very observant with that. I need to be more active. And tuck the toes, take the blocks a little bit closer, press down, and then keep lifting up. Now, I can feel energetically and physically that my right hip needs to draw out and then in again. Okay. So as stuff begins to rise up, can I not be in the story? Can I remain with the breath in the body? And constantly remind myself to draw to my body's midline by constantly reminding front hip back, top hip or the back hip out and in. So I like to make sound in my practice, so you might just hear a little bit, because this side just feels like it just needs that sort of release. So you'll take a deep breath in, hold it without releasing, breath out through the mouth, exhale. It almost feels like when you do that, like moaning, like sound, that sound vibration just helps the body open up a little bit more. Okay, let's hold for the last 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Back bend, inhale. Exhale, fold forward, press down onto the block, tuck the back toes, engage the core, and then back to down dog. Okay, I definitely need to take my dog for a walk here. So super slow as one heel grounds, one knee bends, and I push into the palms. Then I can alleviate myself from there. Okay, slowly look forwards. You're going to step or jump to seated. Okay. So practice like this, I repeat my practice in a week. I'll repeat the same generally, because each time you do a practice, you have different emotions, you have different energy stuck in different areas. So it helps you almost like see how the conversation shifts throughout the whole week. So you can come back into this practice, and if there's certain adjustments that didn't quite make sense and there was too much, now if all you could focus on was just the feet before, now you can focus on the hips, the lifting up from gravity instead of dumping into gravity. And then the next one, what you do is, okay, now I'm going to constantly just focus on my breath with this one. And then the next one, you see where I'm going with this. So it's going to come back into seated, ground ourselves. Right palm underneath left again. And then observing what is showing up in your body from that practice. Any particular frustration? Try not to get into the storyline, just feel it as you breathe into that space. Okay. And then begin to open up your eyes. So because we've been doing a lot of legs throughout the whole practice, what you might have started feeling is a little bit of like shoulder tension, particularly maybe at the slowness of the practice, wanting to move and shift past the discomfort energy. Absolutely normal. Let's grab a hold of a strap, or if you have a scarf, you can also use one. I'm just going to turn around. So either seated or on your shins or not on your shins. And then, beautiful yellow strap. Some of my favorite colors. So this is going to be nice and happy. So here, you want to just create a loop. So what I normally instruct in a class is if your knees, if you're seated in Sukhasana, what you want to do is open up the strap as wide as your knees, and then give it a fist distance away from your knees. That would be like a good guide. And then obviously you know your shoulder mobility. So all you're going to do here is take the hands in a fist. Yeah, you just want it like a little bit shoulder distance. You can go a little bit wider, which is fine. And then hover the strap above your thighs. So you're going to pull away and then towards me. So there's a push and pull, always using dynamic resistance in your practice. So you want to pull away and then forwards. So what that will do, and I'll show you on the side very quickly, is as you pull away, you pull apart and then you pull away. And can you see that rounds into the back? It's a nice stretch for the shoulders. So I'm not like coming into my natural habit pattern. I'm just alleviating tension that could be stuck in that natural sort of patterning of just this feels relaxed, right? So we're just trying to unwind tension. Then from here, constant breath. You're going to inhale, reach the arms up. And now super slowly, you want to almost move simultaneously, right? And as you're moving simultaneously, notice that your spine is still long. Notice posture in your seat, and then the exhalation, lower down. But remember, you're constantly pushing apart and forwards, away. Let's go for 4 more. Inhale, reach up. And then exhale, ground. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, ground. And just look at a point ahead of you where you won't be distracted. I think we have 2 more. I haven't been counting. An extra one does us justice, so it's fine. And then exhale. Okay, so notice as you're doing this and concentrating on shoulders now, can you keep lifting upwards instead of dumping? And you can notice the upward movement is pressing down onto the floor instead of pressing into the floor. So observe that. And then the exhalation, you're going to move towards the front. Okay, so that might have been simple enough. We're going to now take it to the back. What we don't want to do. This is the relationship between forcing versus encouraging. What we don't want to do is shorten the distance and lean forwards to compensate the lift that we want to achieve, right? And I'll show you what I mean by that. So naturally, what you want to do is keep the spine nice and long. This helps you with your core as well. So if you're not into core work and practice, you can always do core work in your practice, Okay, so here, lift your arms up. I'm feeling squeezing of the shoulder blades. That's why I need to go slow. And then as my shoulder blades draw towards the midline, then I can lift the arms up. And then as I come here, shoulders, hands above shoulders, then I can drop the shoulders. Same thing when I go back. Similar thing like down dog, tilt the pelvis, move back, concentrate. Okay, what you did not see me do is this. Keep your spine long so everything's engaged. When you're bobbing and weaving, trying to get height and actually get the action, it doesn't serve you over the long run. So you really want to engage, and then over time, all you need to do, even if you need to take the strap completely wide open, then rather do that, but keep your core engaged. Okay, so we'll do 5 of those, and then we can relax about all of this. Okay, so slowly, inhale, reach the arms up. And I hope for some of you, this is actually not building more tension. Okay, you're actually trying to release tension in the shoulders. Shoulder blades to midline, and you feel the armpits stretching. So good. Really, really does feel good. It might not feel good all the time. Then lift the arms up. And draw down. Three more. The last 2, reminder posture. Second reminder, gravity. Third reminder, breath. Last one. And then we're done. Okay, so generally after each movement coming in and out, you want to observe what just happened without diving into any stories of why it couldn't happen in a particular way you thought it needed to, or whatever comes up. Okay, let's prepare ourselves to just completely descend into surrender. Let's suspend. You can remove your props. So as you can see, I've had to put something warm onto my body because we're going to now ground ourselves fully into Shavasana. I'm going to place the blocks underneath my knees. And please, because this is like a demo class as well, you can hold down dog for as long as not down dog, you can hold Shavasana for as long as you want to. But before we come into the shape, as you lie down, extend the legs up towards the ceiling, your hands soften to the limbs, soften to the wrists, the knees, the rotation into your ankles if you want. Okay, so this is just a mild inversion. Okay, now we're going to come into Shavasana. And like I said in the beginning, you'll hold way longer, please, than I do in this one. Shoulder blades part. Legs are soft, or feet are soft to the edges. Legs are completely heavy down onto the ground. Palms face up to just receive your energy that has shifted through the practice. And please, for those of you who want to stay longer, please honor that in your body. For those of you, if this is all the time you had capacity for, begin to breathe a little bit deeper, slow, intentional movements, head side to side. Hands behind you as you point your toes. And just give the body a deep stretch. Pull both knees in towards chest. Roll over towards the left side of your body. And then right hand in front of your chest to rise up into a comfortable seat. And just rooting down through your sit bones. Grounding hands on your thighs so that you can guide the upward movement. Lift up through the spine. And just attentive to the space that you have created in the practice. And awareness of the space that has been contracted through the practice. And observe in your body where that is sitting. Remember, without the stories, just awareness. Connecting hands to heart. Thumbs pressing against the sternum. And if you enjoy the chants of Om, I'm specifically not going to join you in this one. As you can hear, I'm very nasally. So if you want to end off with 3 chants of Om, I'll join you in silence. Gently bow head to heart and full on an appreciation for practice, the medicine, the breath, and your body. Namaste.